Hello everyone, this is 1.5 Zeeebo speaking and welcome to today's AFK journey video. So in today's AFK journey video, we're going to give a first impression of Mikola after pulling her to Supreme Plus, which was a very painful pulling session, and then playtesting her in the different game modes and giving our first impression based on our gameplay experience. So first of all, right, I got Mikola's headwear as you guys can see right here, and okay, let me just drink a Coke over here. Okay, anyway, I'm not sustaining that 1.5 times Zeeebo thing because it's a little bit too tiring. But we just managed to get Mikola's headwear. Very cute. This is a mini me. Got her to Supreme Plus, 2-star. I personally think at this point, at the very least, I wouldn't want to bring her to 3-star yet, because 3-star EX10 actually gives you 30 vitality, but I think 30 vitality is not actually like super duper massive. Like, it's not game changing massive enough for me to commit immediately. But if in the next few days we do discover her being super duper meta for various different game modes, then I'll definitely upgrade it. Okay, so I'll just showcase her at EX5 first. And for Mikola's different gameplay, I think personally right now she's actually in the most meta Dream Realm team, replacing Scarletta in the buffer role. So I'm gonna showcase this team on my own account because I have the units. So let me just explain this meta team composition and why it works. So let's shift the units accordingly. Put Shakir in the middle. So with this team, you have multiple buff stackings going on. You have Smokey's buff, you have Mikola's buff, and you have Shakir's Lupin Aura, which is also another buff. So you have like triple buff stacking, and then you have Resto, which is frontliner, which is the double frontliner because you got 2 units attacking at the same time, which can benefit from both Mikola's Courage Sphere as well as Lupin Aura from Shakir. So this is the most meta team right now. I'm just gonna do one run to show you guys the damage as well as the team, right? This is one of the most meta team right now, or in fact this is the most meta team in terms of damage, at least after Mikola's introduction. So I'm not going to release a video specifically explaining this team, but this unit right now has a lot of potential to do buff stacking with Smokey, for example. So I think instead of her replacing Smokey, she would definitely be working with Smokey, I'll say, in the next few days if she's breaking records in the teams. So in terms of Dream Realm side, I do see her potential because the buff that she gets in Dream Realm can stay permanent because you're not fighting for the arena against the bosses, because you generally have more unit against the enemy. So the thing about her buff is that once you get her to Supreme Plus, the buff is permanent once she gets the ultimate active. So in Dream Realm's case, it's quite easy because for those of you guys who do not know her kit, let me just run through this briefly. Let me go to the characters page and then just briefly explain her kit once again, because I really talked about it a few times, but just got a brief TLDR for you guys. So her ultimate is basically a small AoE buff that provides haste for your team, which increases your DPS as well as increases the tankiness by increasing range defense by 10. So that's how the ultimate works, but you need to get the ultimate online right before the buff kicks in, as well as the healing wave kicking in as well. So that's the caveat. So that's for the ultimate, right? The second skill is the heroic duo. So there's an arena in the middle which is represented by the rectangle, so you need to hold on to it by having more units on it, and once you are in charge of that arena itself, you will actually get this attack buff. So you can go upwards to plus 22%, to plus 23% with the magic charm, right, for all allies once you are in control of the arena. And right, Mikola is able to restore all allies HP, which is additional heals from there. So skill 1, skill 2 mixed together, it's like Smokey skill 1, skill 2 as well. So then we have Vigorous Core, which is additional heals as well as buffs for herself as well as the weakest allies. So this skill, I'll say it's more useful for PvE and PvP, but there are issues with Mikola there, which I'll explain later once I go there. But right now, I think the potential of her with this heroic duo, Dauntless Hume, as well as passionate opening combo for additional damage is definitely viable for Dream Realm. So she's already proven to be good in the Cyclops. So in the next few days, we'll do more testing before giving our final verdict as usual. And on top of that, in Dream Realm, it's really easy to fulfill the holding the arena condition to fulfill the Supreme Plus skill, which means that her Courage Sphere will remain permanent, right? At least throughout the whole Dream Realm, because like there's no boss, right? Skyclops is the only one that can summon minions, which means that if Skyclops cannot fight the field with you, then the other bosses can't. So in against other bosses, I think, especially against like Snow Stomper, in the event where you are holding onto the arena permanently, you are getting that 20% attack buff as well as the heal, as well as the permanent duration on Courage Sphere. So against Snow Stomper, this is actually massive, because once she's able to activate her Courage Sphere, her ultimate will be permanent, and every unit that's within that buff AoE will benefit, which is why I think she definitely has a place in Dream Realm, but I'm not sure whether or not she will fall off because she's like a Smokey plus Mikola. I don't think you can actually make herself work, except maybe in Snow Stomper, which I mentioned, because Smokey just sucks there, but that's my first impression. So definitely a very Dream Realm viable character. But for the PvE side, okay, so I tried a few comps with her. Zoo comp, tried Iron Control comp. I'll show you the issue with her. Okay, so this is her without Cascade spell. So I'm going to use Evocation spell with her. I think two issues with her in PvE. Number one, you need to keep her alive for her good stuff to occur, which is the ultimate. Number two, you need to hold on to the arena. So in cases where you are holding on to arena, I think she's actually really good, because even if she dies, right, that arena buff will still go through. Although you'll be losing a bunch of good buffs that is from her active, which is like her ultimate as well as her third skill, like the defense buff and stuff. But as long as you're holding on to arena, as you guys can see, the ultimate is just permanent, and you will be able to get all the good buffs on all your other units. But at the same time, because her active skills or her ultimate is a very small AoE range, range units don't actually benefit that much. So you're not like benefiting fully from the buff, like compared to Smokey, which in most cases most units will actually benefit from it. So like there's some restrictions similar to Smokey's AoE, but the restriction is a lot tougher because like she has two parts. Number one, you need to hold on to the arena, so that is the number one most important thing. So if you can't hold on to it, or if the enemies just have ways to kick you out of the arena and then you just can't like get control of it, which has happened quite a few times, it's going to be kind of challenging. Okay, secondly, right, her active buffs, which are her aura, the courage sphere, as well as the third skill, they are pretty melee centric. So if you build a team with multiple range units, for example like this case where I'm running like Lily May and Arden together with like the control comp, they don't benefit that well, especially the two backliners, because they are not standing within the aura, and like they're not going to follow Mikola in the front line to just get the aura itself. So like what I'll say is probably a melee centric team would be the way to go to build her. But right now I don't think I actually have a viable team. Maybe a zoo team. I'll do more testing later on, and then I'll recommend the best teams for her based on my testings on my account. But right now I think PvE wise, these are the main challenges for her, right? You need to build a team that benefits from the aura, which I mentioned before, and you need to have the ways and the means to hold on to the arena to get the buff on your team permanently. So that is something which could be a challenge on certain maps, which is why I think she's like not so good for PvE. Like she's just not very generic, like not generic enough to be used consistently. But you know, things might change if we do manage to find a very consistent comp. So that's that. And right, with regards to PvP, I'm just going to showcase a few runs with her. I think for PvP she's definitely way more viable than Smokey, but how much more viable is the question. Like how much more do I want to use her compared to Smokey, for example? So right here we have a pretty latest meta team. So I'm going to use her here to just show you guys like what are some of her problems. So I realized that the best comp is her with Shakir, and some people actually mentioned that yeah, why not protect her with Torrent here? I guess sure. Then we're gonna put Coco. Where's my Coco? Okay, and I guess I'm just gonna store it in the Scalita. Yeah, just to make it like a Mauler centric team. And then for Coco, we will give Coco the Enlightening spell. So that's that. Okay, so this is one team, showcase it at one time. So first of all, like I mentioned, the holding arena is gonna be one thing that you need to consider. So your team comp must have a way to hold the arena consistently against the enemy's team, and there are quite a few variables that could affect it. Number one, your iron pool RNG. Okay, number two, right, your own units positioning, because your units could be running around all over the place. And number three, whether or not you are winning the battle itself, because if you are losing, chances are you are being forced to your side of the battlefield, and then you will lose control of the arena, and this arena becomes a lose more kind of thing. And secondly, if you take a look at our dear Mikola right here, her ultimate is very slow because she doesn't have any way to get it out faster. It's quite similar to Coco in some sense. Like her ultimate actually is like a very impactful ultimate, but it's like really slow, and it's, you see, like it's more than half the battle, but I haven't even gotten my ultimate up because Lin Mei is just cancelling it out. And the thing is, it's not coming out fast enough that, you know, you can match up to Lily May's ultimate casting speed. And the reason why I'm going with this Shakir with Mikola combo is because this double aura stacking is actually insanely powerful after like multiple rounds of testing. But I think the issue with Mikola and PP is this: she doesn't have any mechanics to counter control, and she doesn't have a mechanic to sort of accelerate the ultimate. So you have to rely on, for example, enlightening spell if you're using like her in normal arena, and you need to use cascade spell if you're using her in supreme arena itself. So those are the things that you want to sort of include, right, to accelerate her ultimate usage. And is she worth it? Like, is she worth it? I think with multiple testing in the stream itself, you guys can go watch the stream. I honestly think she's not that worth it to sort of like sacrifice so much power just to make her work. Like, teams that are working are not working because she's there. She's like a win more kind of unit. Like, if you're winning more. But if you're losing, you're also losing more, because then you're throwing away the ultimate and then you're wasting one unit slot. So that's just my general impression for Mikola. I think generally she's a Dream Realm centric character for sure. PvE teams will need more testing, and then not so much. Okay, arena wise, I think she will work, but obviously she's not like a top tier must have arena unit. So my initial verdict for her right now is just hold your horses. Let us do the testing in the next few days on Dream Realm, and let you guys know the results through my next few videos in the next few days, so that you guys can decide whether or not you want to commit into her. So that's it for this video. Thank you very much for tuning in. Do remember to like and subscribe to see more. See you guys again in my next video. Bye guys.